Today's episode of DRL is brought to you by Hella Cocktail Company. My guests don't just come to DRL for me. They also come for the cocktails. Luckily, my friends at Hella Cocktail Company have my back. These guys make amazing mixes, from Bloody Mary to Margarita to Moscow Mule. They also make cocktail bitters, my secret ingredient, and now yours too. It's easy to feel like the best bartender in town when every bottle comes with a simple recipe on it. Hella Cocktail Company, bold flavor, real ingredients, hospitality. Mixing it up since 2011. Shop the collection on Amazon Prime or use code DRL online at hellacocktail.co for free shipping. Hello, my lovely listeners. Welcome back to another episode of DRL, where we're talking everything dating, relationships, and love. I'm your host, Tennesha Wood. Hey, y'all. So with me tonight, I have Deanna Fierce, who I just found out lives right across the street from me. So dope.
I know, right?
Do y'all want to hear something funny? Tell them the story about what happened when you walked up today.
Oh, my goodness. So I get out of my car and I'm waiting for Tennesha to walk up, and I see this beautiful African-American girl. She walks up. She's like, hey. And I'm like, hey. And we're hugging and we're talking. And she's like, oh, I was just watching your live. And I was like, oh, girl, I was just out here waiting on you. Anyway, after a 5-minute conversation, I realized that she was not Tennesha. She was a random stranger that literally was just watching my live and happened to notice me standing outside. And after that, it was like another 10 minutes of us apologizing because I was like, oh my gosh, I was totally waiting for Tennesha to come down. And she's like, no, I'm a complete stranger. Y'all, it was like the craziest thing. Like, it was the weirdest thing. She was like, I was just watching your live on Instagram. And I was like, and I totally thought you were who I was waiting on. And she
That's so funny. So by the time I get down there, she's like, and these are good poses for modeling. Yep, that's a good one. Yep, try to do it like this. So it turned into a whole session.
I know, right? I was like, random. And then I tell Tennesha, oh, by the way, I literally live right across the street. And she was like, oh my goodness. It's like
small world. Mm-hmm. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
I'm glad to be here. I'm doing really good.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been following your Instagram, and I'm like, she just looks cool.
Oh, gee, thank you. I try to look cool. I try to do the best that I can.
So you're a model, right?
Yes, I am.
And how did you get into that?
Well, I actually stumbled into it because it started out with just a random photo shoot that I took when I was in college. And after seeing the photos and just being in the moment, I was like, I really enjoy this. So I started just taking more photos and realized like, hey, I could probably be good at this. And it ended up being me just learning more about getting into the modeling industry and what it takes and bettering my skills. And now it's more like a movement because I am petite. So I'm not your typical tall model that you would see on runways and everything. So I am a very unique model. And now it's more of a movement and a mission that I have to help other models like me that are short and they have these big dreams and aspirations. And they're very talented and skilled to do the job of a model. But when it comes to get signed to an agency, you know, we have some roadblocks that come up. So I stumbled into it. And I mean, I love it. I love the self-expression of modeling.
Do you know what I just thought of?
What?
You know how on Top Model, like every time they would do the dramatic photo thing?
Oh, girl. Yes. The handing of the...
Yes. You may now continue on to the next round.
She's up there holding him like she's like, some of you will not be going any further. And you have to walk up and hand, like when she hands the photo, you're like, oh my gosh, thank goodness.
Do you know, you remember... we were all rooting for you. That is my favorite meme ever of all time. And I think that, like, I literally think it in that tire voice sometimes when somebody disappoints me. I'm like, I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
Oh, my goodness. Exactly. Oh, I get the question, talking about that show, I get the question all the time, like, or people make a joke about when I say, oh, you know, I have people pose and like, oh, smiles. Can you tell me how to smile? You know how she did that whole thing of telling people how to smile with their eyes? And I'm like, yes, it's a real thing.
I'm not going to lie. I practiced that.
It's a real thing.
After she said it, I was like, well, Tyra says, let me try this.
Let me do this.
Wait, am I doing it? Hold on. Don't look yet. Don't look yet. I'll tell you when I'm ready. Hold on.
Okay.
And I'm ready.
Yes.
Or did I just look psycho? My version of smizing is just opening my eyes wider. Like, is it like this?
Oh my goodness. Almost.
I almost had it.
But it's a real thing. It is. I love it. Oh my
So
goodness.
you had on Instagram the other day, I didn't get a chance to watch the live, but you were sort of talking about coming into your own and dating and how you came to this. So I didn't get to watch the whole thing. So fill me in. From what I know, are you have a partner?
Yes.
So are you like, I don't like labeling people, but
yes, I am a lesbian.
Okay.
Yes.
How did you figure that out? Had you always known that?
That's a good question. No, I didn't always know it. It wasn't until high school when I really started to be like, okay, why am I attracted, or why do I feel this certain way or get butterflies when this particular person walks by, or I see them or I talk to them and they just happen to be a female. So it wasn't until like high school when I was a sophomore to where I kind of started paying attention to those feelings and emotions, and I wasn't really attracted to guys. I had guy friends. I did have boyfriends in high school and stuff, but it wasn't like how it was when I would be around females. So it wasn't until college when I was out on my own, and then I started seeing more of the types of females that I am attracted to. I'm like, oh my gosh, they exist. OMG, I'm in heaven, right? And so I then started to explore it a
Which
little
is
bit
what
more.
type? Just out of curiosity.
So I like the more dominant type or the more athletic. I don't, what some people will consider studs here, or those that dress more manly in a sense. But not, okay, so there's levels to this thing. Let me break it down before people be emailing you and they be asking you questions. So you have labels, unfortunately, like in anything. So you have those that are femmes, which would be me, feminine women who dress in heels, and then you have those that are a little bit in between. So they may have an attire that reminds you of somebody that's athletic, or they don't have a problem with wearing guy attire, like baseball caps and things like that, because they're kind of athletic and they don't have a problem with that. So those are considered studs.
Just so you know, as you're giving these descriptions, in my head, I'm thinking of a celebrity that fits each.
And I wish I had a name. Okay, I don't... Okay, so...
what's Portia's, what's Ellen's wife? It's Portia, Ellen's wife?
Feminine.
Yes.
Ellen would be considered like, she's right in that cusp.
Got it.
Okay, so then, you know how Queen Latifah played in Set It Off? Yeah. Stud.
Okay.
All right, so now we have some visuals here. So I like the more athletic type. So what could be considered more of the stud type. So when I was...
Latifah or Ellen?
It would be, I could... Ellen all the way, but more Latifah in between Latifah and Ellen.
Got it.
Because I'm using these labels as just a visual.
It was a reference, not to box people in.
Absolutely.
No, I get it.
So I saw more those type of dressed females, and I
got
was
it.
Like, oh yeah, more of the creatives, and then I started dating, and I was like, okay, this is something I'm really attracted to.
Did you go to college in Mississippi as well? Okay, that's a whole nother element. I want to talk about that too, but okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can, yeah. And so after that, after a few years of me dating, and now I realized, okay, hey, this is really what I'm attracted to. I then had to do, the coming out to my parents, because I always like to stay true to myself, and I'm not that type of child that could live very long with not telling my parents what's really going on.
Right.
So that's where the coming out story came in, and I had to tell them, like, hey, mom and dad, like, I'm attracted to females. And I had to deal with that journey of my life, and that's what I was sharing on my Instagram Live. And there has been layers and layers and layers of that over the years, because my partner that I'm with now, we've been together for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we moved here to Dallas together, and I dated before we moved here, and we moved here together, and so we've been through a lot together.
Wow, 12 years. That is some time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say, you darn right. So, and then after that, it took years and years and years of just like really working to stay true to myself. And that's hard. And that's what I was kind of telling in my live when I was throwing snot everywhere and crying, because it's a heartstring. It's like really personal, and it's hard. And it's really hard when you love somebody and you're on that cusp, and you throw the religion in there, and it's just like all this stuff that you're going through. And normal relationship stuff that you have to go through on top of the type of relationship,
right.
on top of religion, on top of family, on top of expectations, it gets real.
How did your parents take it?
It was hard. It was hard. They were like, hey, that's not you. You know, this isn't who you are. This isn't how we raised you. My dad didn't talk to me for like a year.
Wow.
I had to bring the vehicle that I was, bring it back home. It was like no communication. Luckily, like my mom talked to me every once in a while. My sisters were affected. So, because it's 3 of us. And that's not something I shared on my live, but because my sister was watching my live, but my sisters were affected too. So it was like this whole family thing, and it was hard. It was hard.
How did you guys get past it? I know you said they didn't talk to you, or your dad rather, for a year. But like, how did you guys move from not speaking for a year to, I guess, slowly where you are today?
Absolutely. So time. And when I was first going through that, boohooing, and I was living with my partner. Her name is Luke. I was living with her at the time, and she just kept telling me, like, hey, it's going to get better. And I was like, no, it's not. You don't understand my family. You don't understand my folks. You don't know anything about me. This is like in the beginning of our relationship. So I'm like, no, I'm done. Like, my parents cut me off. Like, you don't understand. And she's like, no, just give it time. It'll get better. She just kept telling me it'll get better, and I didn't believe it. But it did. Like, she was like, just stick to who you are, and they're going to see. They're going to be able to see. And, when somebody's telling you that, when you're going through that, you're like,
you don't know these people.
There ain't no way this can get any better than what it is. Well, over the years, I did that. I just stayed true to who I was. And, I continued to talk to my mom, my sisters, and I just tried to stay who Deanna was. And then, honestly, the turning point, this is going to sound so crazy, y'all, but I ended up having to have an emergency surgery and have my appendix removed. And so in Dallas is nobody but me and Luke. And she has such a huge heart. So she was communicating with my family back and forth because I had to get admitted. It was like, no time to tell them, hey, Dad, I'm having surgery. Well, she communicated with them. She took my phone and she just kept them updated, like, hey, this is what's going on. My parents and everybody jumped in the car and they were like rushing down here. They're like, no, you have to go to surgery right now. So she was nice enough to like, hey, this is what's going on, and keep my dad in the loop. And after that, like literally that was in October. And then November came, and my dad was like, oh, we want to drive down and have Thanksgiving with y'all. We're like...
You're like, with y'all? As in both of us? she's here, right?
Yeah. And my dad, for the first time, like, we cooked and had food and stuff. And he prayed, and he was like, God, I just want to thank you that Larissa was there when my daughter had to go and have surgery, and that she was there with her. And after that, we're all good.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how soon into the relationship was that when you had to have the surgery and all that happened?
Oh, girl, that was okay, hold on. Let me think. So it's been about, because I was a police officer at the time. So that's been about 3 years ago on top of that. So I would say the surgery was in 2012.
Wow.
So we moved to Dallas in 2009. I started dating my partner in 2007, so we're thinking about 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 4 or 5-ish years.
Wow.
Ish.
And so now where are you guys with your parents?
We talk everything is good. It's a lot better. It's so much better.
Wow.
But I still have those little things, like I was sharing on my live how I don't want to tell my parents, hey, I want to get married because I'm scared that I'm going to hurt my dad again, and I don't want to tell them I want to have kids because I'm worried about those little things that are still lingering that I'm still working through. But I'm like, I have it so good now, and I don't want to go through that again.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't even know how it would be. It's just like me worrying over things that I don't even know what's going to be.
And at this point, they've probably, since they've accepted the relationship, I feel like they're like, okay, it's been 12 years. There's probably something more coming. You know what I mean? Like, they probably expect it on some level, and are just waiting on you to.
Could be.
Do they have any grandkids now? Like, do your other sisters have kids?
My oldest sister, I have a nephew and a niece.
Okay.
And those are my babies.
Because otherwise I'm like, they're waiting on one of y'all.
Yeah, she took the lead on that. She took the lead on that one. So they have some, but.
So it was, her name's Larissa?
Mm-hmm.
So was she your first relationship?
No. Well, if we ain't talking about the rebounds and all that, I would probably say the third. She was the third. Because I had one in high school that was like a little fling, and then I had my first maybe serious one when I first got to college. It lasted like 3 years. I thought it was going to be forever. And
3 years is a long time.
I know. I thought I was going to, like, we were going to be together forever. You know, that first love kind of stuff. And I'm like, gosh. And now I'm like, what was I thinking?
How did you and Larissa meet?
So we met randomly on a little cruise that was in Mississippi. Me and my roommate, Danielle, was like, girl, let's get away. We tired of these people get on our nerves. So let's just take this little cruise, girl, and just enjoy ourselves. And so she was there. And at the time, I wasn't trying to date anybody. I was just wanting to chill. Mm-hmm. Well, just so happened that the girl that was trying to holler at my roommate ended up knowing Larissa. And she was like, hey, this chick over there wants your number. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm not here for that.
I'm just here to do me, okay?
I'm just trying to enjoy my day. So she's like, all right, well, at least exchange numbers. I was like, yeah, that's okay. Get her number. And long story short, like I ended up passing Larissa like on the boat, like never said a word to each other. We never said anything to each other. And she was like, I thought you were like mean. And I was like, no, I just wasn't feeling it.
I was just doing me.
I was just doing me. Got home, she ends up calling me, and that next day I was actually leaving for Canada, actually for school to go on an internship. So she called, she's like, hey, do you want to hang out? I was like, no, I'm packing my bags. I got to go to Canada. And she was like, oh, you lying.
That does sound like a lie. It just so happens that today, the day you want to hang out, is the day I have to go to Canada. So no, I can't hang out. Sorry.
She was like, okay, whatever. So I went to Canada, came back, school started. So this is probably, the cruise was maybe like in May-ish, and school starts back in August. I didn't talk to her that whole summer. Like, out of sight, out of mind, wasn't thinking about it. Went to Canada, doing my thing, came back. I'm going to class one morning. I'm packing my stuff, getting ready, and something said, hey, you ought to call that girl Larissa up.
Just out of nowhere.
Absolutely out of nowhere. And I was like, okay. So I get my stuff, and I knew I had to walk on campus. I scroll, find her number, I call her, and she happened to be coming from work because she worked nights. So I'm, it's in the morning, so I'm going to school. She's going home to go to sleep. And we talked the entire way. I had like a 15-minute walk, and we talked the entire way. Conversation was just really, really good. And we made a bet with each other that we wouldn't see each other until my birthday. So we were going to only talk to each other on the phone and get to know each other and really build a friendship. And
how did y'all decide this so soon? Like, why?
Because we started talking like every day. Like after that one conversation, like we just hit it off.
But why did you guys decide you weren't going to see each other?
We just wanted something exciting. Like we just like, hey, because we were starting to act. Do you remember seeing me? Do you remember what I look like? And I was like, no, I really don't remember what you look like. And back then it was MySpace. So I'm telling my age. Back then it was MySpace. So we said, hey, don't look me up on MySpace. We're going to try something different. Let's just get to know each other. Because we're kind of, going through our relationships.
Right.
Like, oh, hey, this is what I've been through. And so we were just like, hey, I don't even remember what you look like. And we're like, well, what about we just get to know each other and see where it goes. And then maybe, we'll meet up afterwards and let's just make a bet that we won't look up each other on MySpace or try to find out what we look like and see where it goes.
See, I couldn't have done it. As soon as we got off the phone, I'd have been like, let me just verify before I continue talking. Okay, you cute. All right, cool. Yeah, let's just keep talking. We don't need to look at each other. It's fine.
It was a dare, but it was well worth it.
So when you guys finally saw each other, like, what happened?
So we finally saw each other in the club, which probably I know was not the best idea. Y'all do not do that. If you don't see somebody for a very long time, don't pick the club to be your first, and don't pick it to be your birthday night.
Yeah. I already am seeing how that whole thing went down. Like, this is in good. College. I'm in a club. It's my birthday. I'm meeting somebody for the first time. Nah.
It wasn't a good idea. So that next day I had to recuperate and do a lot of apologizing. But when we met each other, to answer your question, it was a good feeling.
Wow.
It really was.
So how soon after that did you guys decide to make it exclusive or official?
Oh, it was maybe 6 months or so. And at that time, I was still kind of going through that phase of getting over my ex. And so I was still kind of like we had been broken up a long time, but I was the one that didn't want to let it go because it was kind of like one of those things like, you didn't really tell me we were broken up. It was just, you just stopped talking to me. And so I'm like still waiting and thinking we're going to get back together. So I was still kind of going through that. And then one night, it was one of those random nights where you get that text message or that call from the ex and you're like going back and forth. And so I called her afterwards and I'm telling her about it. And she's like, why don't you just leave that alone and just be my girlfriend? And I was like, what? What'd you say? And she repeated it. I was like, damn, that does sound like a good idea. But it was probably like 6 months or so after meeting each other and starting actually hanging out and seeing each other on the weekends and stuff. So we still really focus on just having a friendship. And that has mattered a lot in our relationships to make it to 12 years.
Yeah.
It really has. It laid the foundation. And because we now can say, no, you're my best friend. Like, you really are my best friend. And that's not something that's come after being in a relationship. It came first.
Right.
So.
Which is so important. Like, people skip past that part. They really do. Which is why then when they break up or something happens, it's like they just excommunicate because we never got to know each other as people and as friends, as human beings. It was just like, you're my girlfriend, you're my boyfriend. And immediately, like, we're staking ownership on people.
Ooh.
And then when you own something and something happens to it or it's not acting right, like, you get mad. Yeah. But like, they didn't start a friendship first. So
yeah, that's so valuable. So valuable. So
how did this relationship in Mississippi at this point, because you guys are still in college at this point, how did that all go down? Now, I've never lived in the South.
Okay.
I've lived in like the Midwest, the West Coast, the East Coast. This is my first time. I guess is this really considered like South? Because we're in like North Texas, but
no. Let me talk about Texas as the South. I'm like, this is not the South. Alabama, like Mississippi, like
Mama Louisiana, Daddy Alabama. Okay, that's the South.
That's the South to me. They don't claim. They don't say Texas is South. It's not. It is not. I'm sorry, y'all. It's not.
So, what was dating as a lesbian like in the South at that point?
You stuck out like a sore thumb. Like, for sure. You knew your little hubs and where you were safe to go and hang out, but you didn't boast and brag like how it is here or how it is nowadays. Oh gosh. People have it so easy. Like, it's so easy. It was no holding hands. You got to be very mindful of who you're around because everybody knows everybody. Especially if you're not out like that, or especially if you still want to respect your family and people know you that know your family and stuff. So you have a lot to think about. You have a lot to think about and consider in Mississippi or in the South. Even now, when we go like to Arkansas or Alabama or something like that, like, we're very comfortable in who we are. We've never had an issue ever, but we know people and our friends that have had issues, and we're just always mindful of our surroundings and just pay attention and just always know that you are human. But that does not mean that everybody's going to accept you for that. And sometimes they don't see that first. They see, whatever it is that they see in their head, and you just have to be mindful of that. So even now when we go back home, we're not, we're still kind of very respectful of where we are. Now, if you catch us in New York or, if we're in Las Vegas or traveling around somewhere else, that's fine. Like, but even sometimes here in Texas, when we go like to West Texas, or I take my road trips and stuff, we're extremely mindful of where we are and just pay attention to people, because
that's kind of bullshit.
It is.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't like hearing you say,
I know.
When I'm in New York or when I'm in Vegas, like, I could fully be me and show affection. But when I'm careful when I'm like, that's kind of bullshit. It's not kind of bullshit. It is bullshit.
It's just, I think I like to live in reality. It's just, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And I'm always the type, I'm like, and I tell people all the time, like, just don't be going out here thinking that everybody has to accept. Everybody doesn't. And that's okay.
Right.
So, and plus, I want to be respected for who I am. And if I make a big deal out of it, sometimes it's like I'm making a big deal out of it. But I have always started, even when I want to be seen as Deanna. not who I go home with or not who I lay next to the bed, because every heterosexual ain't walking around here trying to do the same thing.
Right.
They're just walking around here living their lives normal. They go home to who they go home to, and that's it. I want to be seen the same way, so therefore that's what I'm going to do. But being that my partner dresses the way she dresses and looks the way she looks, I'm always like watching. Now, we've never had any issues. But like I said, at the same time, we've had looks, we've had stare downs, and or we've had like little notions and things like that, but nobody's ever stepped
Nobody's
to us.
brave enough to come at you.
Ain't nobody ever stepped to us, but we have friends and people that we know that's going on. So we just pay attention. It's just a world. It's just the world we live in and the state that you're in.
Oof.
Yeah, I know, right?
This is the furthest south I'm going. Just so y'all know. North Texas is about as south as I'm going to go.
I have no plans of going no more. Nope. I'm going down deeper than this.
That's it.
Well, you're in a good spot, though.
So how have you made a 12-year relationship work? I know how that you said that it started from a base of friendship, but like 12 years is a very long time. And I know within that there has to be just like a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of uncertainty. So how did you get through those times and make it all work? Communication.
We're still going through things, and it's just like you have to see that you're dealing with another human being. I think that sometimes, my number one thing would be communication. You have to start a conversation with each other and talk about things and talk things out. You don't even know who you are until you start talking things out, because you might be the type of person who's like me. I'm like, hey, I'm quiet. Give me some time, and then we can come back and talk about it. My partner, she's like, no, let's talk about it right now. But see, as you're working through and discovering who you are in your relationship as a human being, then you need to say, hey, this is how I work. All right, this is where can we come to the common ground? None of that stuff is going to happen if you're not communicating about it and being honest and open and appreciating the other person as a human being. I feel like, sometimes we're just so rushed to get to a certain point in a relationship that we forget that you're human, and then that other person's a human being that has same emotions, same ups and downs, same good days, same bad days, all that stuff. And you have to acknowledge that, and you have to spend time, have pillow talk at night, talk to each other, hear each other's days, and find out what makes them work and what ticks. Like, get to know people and get to know the person that you are supposed to be spending the rest of your life with. That's the only way you're going to know if you're meant to be with them or you're not. And we do that so much in terms of community. We have pillow talk. We talk in the car. We literally talk all the time. But it helps. It really helps. And it's not rocket science. It's just consideration and communication.
Yeah.
And outside of that, in terms of being an individual, or if you're in between relationships, spend time with yourself.
100% agree.
Date yourself first.
Yes.
Before you date anybody, because you are absolutely no good to anybody if you can't date yourself, or if you even know what you like or you don't like. And what you're going to do is go out here and hurt a whole bunch of people's feelings and just layer on the baggage if you don't know. Take time to get to know yourself.
And love yourself.
Own yourself. Like, I don't care what it takes. Love yourself. Get to know what your tics are. So when you meet somebody, you can say, no, I don't like that.
Just so you know, this is who I am. And then they can choose if they want that.
Absolutely.
But you have to know that to tell them that.
Yes. And even if no one thinks like, hey, I don't know if I like that. Maybe you can help me experience that, and then I'll find out if I like it or not. It's not about like literally, okay, well, I have to sit down, spend time with myself, and know every single thing that I like.
Right.
No, it might be some things like, oh, well, I haven't tried that yet. Like,
I don't know yet.
I haven't tried zip lining. Maybe I will like it, maybe I won't. I'm going to keep my book open. I'm going to leave that slot open to experience that, and then I can say, oh, shoot, I don't like that. Or, man, that was so much fun. Yeah, you know what? I do like zip lining.
I'm the type to be like, I tried that once. I didn't like it.
Yeah, tried it, right? You're not like, no, I don't like it. Okay, have you tried it? No, I haven't tried it. But, my friend went and did it, and they said they don't like it, so I don't like it.
Oh, no. I'll try it once, and then if I don't like it, I don't like it.
And I'm going to let you know.
Right.
Yeah, but spend time with yourself, y'all. It's real.
I feel like it's easy in a long-term relationship to get sort of trapped in one, like the person that you were, right? So like, well, you weren't like this, blah, 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 last year. And now it's like, you're like this. So it's sort of sometimes, I think, hard to change and evolve in long-term relationships. How do you guys do that well? You know what I mean? Because like you could be with somebody and then that's how like divorce happens is people are like, I've been with this person for 20 years, but like, I don't know the person next to me. I knew the person, that was next to me 15, 20 years ago, but like, I don't know who this person is. And I always find that sort of puzzling because I'm like, damn, but you're with them every day. You see them all day, every day. But like, I think that goes back probably too to communication. Like you could be talking to somebody, but not like getting to know them and figuring them out. Yeah. So how have you guys been able to make sure that that's top of mind and like you're still learning about each other?
Usually after a fight has happened. Or an argument or something. I'm still evolving now. We're still evolving now. And spending time away from each other. You mentioned something earlier. You said the control thing, like we start labeling and we start like, oh, this is mine and you're my girlfriend and you're my boyfriend and you're mine. And you start to put yourself in this little relationship box. And what happens is you're not open to even get to know who you are or get to know that person. So if you're in a long term or you're with somebody that you feel like you're going to be there for a while, don't get stuck in ownership because it's okay to take time away from each other. Give yourself a break. Give yourself, like take a trip to have that time away. So, man, I really missed you. Because if not, you're going to get complacent. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to have bad days. And if you're not communicating on top of that, then you're building up all this animosity of like little fights and spats that you're not talking it out. So you have all this jealousy or all this animosity building up about this person that you're literally laying next to and you're feeling trapped. And then you get stuck in all the bad things instead of stuck in all the good things. So sometimes if you feel like that, I value spending time by myself. So that might be a trip home over the weekend. That might be a trip, planning a sister trip. Or if you're, just by yourself, like there are groups out here now that you can, say for instance, you don't want to travel with family. You can literally just travel with a group of people and go, just get out and get away. Just take a trip and get out and get away, because that goes to that spending time by yourself, because then when you come back home, it's like you have a fresh start. But in terms of staying who you are throughout that long relationship as you're evolving, communication. Hey, look, I used to like that. I don't like that no more. Like I did like that when I was 23 years old. I don't like that when I'm 33. And I noticed some things about you that you're changing. It's really about being open in that communication. It's okay. You're supposed to change.
Right. If you're not changing, you're not growing.
No.
And if you're not growing, you're dead.
Yeah. And if you're not communicating with your partner, if you're not communicating with that person, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to let them know, hey, babe, I think I want to start doing this, or hey, I think I'm going to stop doing that. Okay, boo, I see you. All right, let's work it out. Let's make it happen. Versus you just trying to do all that stuff behind the scenes, and then you don't know what I got going on. You don't even respect what I got. You don't, it's why.
And when you stay around it, it just festers. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're the person that's like, I need to like process by myself. And if you sit in that, it just like you sit there and you're just thinking about every horrible thing about them. You're just like, I don't even like the way you walk. I don't like the way your upper lip moves when you say certain words.
I like when you go your nose.
Like, the way you blink that eye. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't even like when you go and reach in and get a fork out of the cat. Like, I don't like that. I don't like how you hold your glass. I don't like nothing that you're doing. You just get irritated.
Yeah.
And that's when you really know.
Me and my boyfriend have had to really learn how to argue and disagree well, because he's like you were saying, like Larissa is very like, no, let's talk about this like right now. And I'm always like, I'm so mad right now that nothing I say that is going to come out of my mouth will be productive. I promise you, it'll be mean.
Yeah.
So if you want production, like if you want something to be productive, give me some space and give me some time. But like, he's always just like, no, I mean like right now, I want to talk. And I'm like, bro,
chill.
So we're just now getting to that where he's like, you need some time. And I'm like, yeah, just leave me. I'm going to sit in this room. I'm not mad. I'm just taking my time to sit here in my timeout until I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes a world of difference, right?
Mm-hmm. But that took a long time to get to. I mean, we've been together now just 2 years, but I feel like that took a good year before you're like, okay, you got it? We got it. Okay. The space. Okay. Got it.
Good. Moving on. But it's communication. It really is. We just have to love each other and value that person that we're with enough to say, and that is what we give and it's what we receive. So you have to be able to be patient and, hey, I need a moment to you have to be able to accept that and say, hey, I'm going to give that to them. And then at the same time, that person has to do the same thing. So it's a give and take. A relationship is a give and take. It's not like take all the time. It's give and take. It's like a seesaw, like, and then it is just all work out. But it takes time.
A lot. Effort, energy, all of that.
Yes. You have to be invested.
So I feel like in every relationship, there's a runner and there's a chaser. Like I'm the runner. Mm-hmm. So in that scenario I was talking about where it's like, okay, we just had a fight and I'm the one that'd be like, you know what? I don't need this. Actually, I do not need this. I don't know who you think I am, but I don't need this. Okay. Just so you know, I will blink an eye and be on my own tomorrow and be good. Goodbye. And if it weren't for my boyfriend being like rational in that moment and letting go of the ego and the pride, because I think then a lot of people would be like, okay then. And me being the runner, I'd be like, okay then. And next thing you know, damn, I didn't really mean to break up with you.
No, but, I didn't like that. No.
But now I gotta go because I said it all bold. And so are you the runner or the chaser?
I am the runner. All day, every day, all the time. I just stopped running. I am the runner for sure.
So in those times where like you're running, what keeps it together? Like what is the thing that makes you or her say, you know what, we're being dumb, or like we're not thinking about this right? Like what's that thing?
It always comes back to that friendship. Mm-hmm. It always comes back like after I drive around, I do all my fussing and cussing and all that. I'm just like, you know what? At the end of the day, I really do love this person. Like, that's my best friend, because although I haven't talked to her, texted her, like, this morning, but if something happens, she's the first person I think about. Like, oh, man, I want to tell her this, or if I haven't talked to her those few hours, I'm like, dang, I always checking my phone, like, has she texted me yet? No, she ain't texted me yet. So it comes back to that friendship. It's like, you know what, Dee, why are you acting like that when you know good and well this is somebody that you genuinely love, and that's your best friend that always has your back. It's going to be ride or die. Like, never. It's just a spat. So grow the heck up. Yeah. So it always comes back to that love and that friendship of like, I mean, if anything was to go down, like, I know she would take a bullet for me. Is that kind of ride or die.
You got to know that. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not running around here doing bullets or shooting or anything. I don't live in like a bad neighborhood, but I like to know, like, I have to be able to say that, like, for sure that you would take a bullet for me, that you would jump right in front of it. No question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Chris, I'm going to ask you later. You better be listening. No, I know. So what is your favorite thing about Larissa?
She has a huge heart, and she gives people, this is probably two things, and she gives people so many chances. And I tell her that all the time. Like, I wish I had more of that. She has such a huge heart, and she gives people so many chances. So many chances. I'm like, I don't know how you do it. And she wakes up every day happy. Like, she's never, out of the entire time I've known, she's never woke up or went to bed like mad. She's just like, she's always just happy and positive, and I just love that.
That's great energy to be around.
Yeah, she's awesome. She really is. She's awesome.
What would she say her favorite thing was about you?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, that's a trick question. She would probably say the same. Well, she would probably say that I'm always helping people. Like, I always try to care and help people, and I don't give myself enough credit. But she likes that I'm always like thoughtful and.
Well, I just bumped into you on the street helping somebody, so I can attest to that.
I'm always helping people and trying to help people. So when I say that I'm not that nice, she's like, "That's not true. You are nice." But I'm like, "No, I'm gangster." Like, you don't know me, I'm gangster. She's like, "No, you're not." You know, I'm like, "Okay, maybe not."
So after 12 years, I know you guys have talked marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Any like direct plans on that?
I've been proposed to like 5 times. I have a ring in the top of the closet that we paid money for, and I don't wear. Yeah, it's a struggle. But I have all my wedding plans like in my head, and I have a Pinterest board.
You're like, I could whip this wedding up in 2 days once
Absolutely.
I decide.
I know who my photographer is, my wedding planner, all that. Like, I already have everything that I want, just no date.
And it's just the thought of disappointing.
Mm-hmm. That's all it is.
Oh, I really feel like you just need to talk to them. The communication.
Mm-hmm. Girl, it's real. It's so real.
Is it a religious thing that they harp on when this comes up?
Mm-hmm. We haven't had a conversation about it. Like, I've never had a conversation with my parents. Like, after that coming out, that was it. There was no sitting down talking about it. Let's talk it out. Hey, how are things now? It's never been a conversation. It's like, okay, we see that's what you're doing, but we're not going to sit down and have like a feast over it. Nobody's going to bring us together and say, oh, by the way, D, how's things going? Do y'all have plans on getting, So all this time is just like figuring out you're kind of.
But why can't that happen?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I'm
not going to call the meeting.
No, but I mean, if you haven't tried.
But I'm scared.
How do you know that?
I don't know. I'm living.
It's like the thing where we're saying you got to at least try something once and be like, I tried that. I didn't like it. But you didn't even try it to know if you didn't like it yet.
I know, but it's like dangling my little heart over a fire.
I think that you have to just. What's this? March?
Yeah.
So the next big holiday is like Memorial Day. So I think that for Memorial Day, you go home, just you. You go home, and then you say, hey, you guys know I really love Larissa, right? And you know what I love about her. She's so thoughtful. She's always happy, yada, yada, yada. And I'd love to have that for the rest of my life and make that official.
So
what do you think about that?
This, and I'm gonna send it to them in like a little bit. I'm like, just drop it. Hey, Dad, did you listen to that the voice memo that I sent you? Yeah.
Did you get a chance to check out that podcast?
Yeah. What Tennesha said. Like, listen. No, you made it sound very, very good, and I should. And that's what everybody says. Like, hey, just.
And I think at this point, it's just like they've accepted it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like. You might not have gone down the full road, but you're pretty much there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't have any plans on doing no, I'm here. This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you should just pick a date and do it and then update us.
I hope it's good. I hope I come back and say, y'all have I just wasted all the time in my life thinking that something was going to happen and it didn't happen. It was actually a better outcome than I thought. I hope that's how it is.
It totally is going to be like that.
I don't know, girl.
I just don't know what the alternative for them to say would be.
I just don't want to hurt. I just don't want the pain of when hearing your mom say, "Hey, D, you really hurt your dad's feelings. Like you really, really hurt him."
I'm a big believer in that you choose your feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you blink at me right now, I could take that as that was a friendly wink, or I could take it as did she just blink and roll her eyes at me? It's however I decide I want to take whatever gesture or whatever thing you say. And as an adult, we all have that freedom. We all have the freedom to say such and such is living their life and doing what they want to do. I can either take that in, let it affect me in a positive or negative way or not at all.
Yeah.
And so
I agree.
I think you set it up by saying
the
beginning of the weekend, you're just like, oh my God, she did the nicest, sweetest thing for me. Oh my God, I was sick the other day and she's just such a sweet person. Oh my God, did you see her with the kids? Oh my God, she's just amazing, right? And
they know all all of that. Like, they know I don't even press my clothes.
But you just keep reminding. You keep reminding. So all Friday, all Saturday, you just keep throwing little things out there. You keep reminding, like, this is Larissa texting again. She just misses me.
So awesome.
Then on Sunday, you say, hey, like, let's like have a nice dinner tonight. You make something good. I know you're from Mississippi. I know you could probably make something good. Yeah, you make something good. And then you say, you're not asking permission. You're just saying, hey, Larissa and I are amazing together. And we're probably going to make it official. No, we're going to make it official very soon. I just wanted you guys to be the first to know. And then that's that. I'll keep you updated on the wedding plans. And
you make this sound so amazing and easy.
I think at this point it is. I think, like, you've already done the hardest part, right? Like, you've already come out to them. And so this part is just like, duh, that's going to happen. Like,
y'all make it sound so easy.
Yeah.
But I think the more I hear it, the more it's like, that's
pick a date and just
do it.
Because it's so much weight, right?
It is a lot of weight.
Like, it's just hard to, like.
It's a lot. Imagine being with somebody that you, in, like, having that. And I know people, even in heterosexual relationships, have that kind of balance of, like, maybe their parents don't want them to marry a particular person because they don't, whatever. I'm like, I'm so over this being judged and having these expectations of family. Like, that is just a heavy weight on our shoulders. And I'm like, if I have kids and I'm blessed to have kids, that's the one thing I do not want to do. I just want to be able to accept them the way they are, know that they're loved. And, hey, I don't ever want you to feel like you can't do something because of how I feel as your parent. As long as you ain't cutting, killing, and shooting,
right,
things,
right,
like, hanging people by their toes and all that, then we're good. And I don't want that because I know how that weight feels of, like, man, I don't want to upset my parents. But I'm like, they've lived their life, D. It's okay. And I tell myself this. I have this conversation with myself. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't want to hurt my daddy's feelings. Like, it's serious.
You know what a dad said to me the other day?
What?
So my car had broken down. I now have to have a car. And I'm just like, I don't know how to use cars apparently. Things. Like, apparently when it's cold here, you have to let them warm up. I didn't know I was still in the Midwest. But anyway, I just would start my car and then drive off. And eventually the radiator thing didn't work. But long story short, I had to get my car towed. And so thank God for AAA. And so he was towing the car and I was riding in the truck with the tow truck driver. And we're just talking. I'm like, oh, do you have kids? And he's like, yeah, I've, by the way, his ex-wife introduced him to his current wife, but they're all, like, still really cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, this is dope.
Mature
Yes. So anyway, he's telling me about his kids. He used to play the saxophone, and then his son plays, like, the drums or something. So he's telling me about this, like, musical ability, and he was like, yeah, I think he might be gay. And I was like, really? And I was like, why do you think that? He's like, oh no, he's just always doing some gestures. I'm like, that doesn't make him gay. He was like, nah, but a dad knows. And I'm like, all right.
Parents know.
And I was like, and how does that, like, what are you going to do? How does that make you feel? And he's like, I mean, he's my son. What am I going to do? Not love him?
Oh my gosh.
Right? And I was just like, and this was like, this dude was very like, like look like the bouncer, the bouncer outside of a club type thing, like big dude. Yeah. And so I was just like, wow. I was like, do you know how far he's going to go in this world because you think like that? Like, if nothing else, you know what I mean? Like, just knowing that that's how you think about him.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just going to lift so much off of him. And he's like light.
Makes me want to cry.
Yeah, like he's light and now he can fly. And so I think at this point, like, you are also light, but you're actually the one
holding yourself down and putting this weight on yourself. Yeah.
So I think you should just go ahead and,
take it off.
Like, bag lady, you gonna miss your bus.
You're right. I should.
Yeah.
I really should.
Just let it, like, go.
I am. I'm working on it. But I am. Maybe not Memorial Day because I'm planning on, like, I already got plans. I already got a vacation plan. Maybe before that, I don't know. And then I could just go to, but I really do need to do it because I mean, we have some big plans that we want to start talking about and doing like this year. And I have to work through this. So I really do need to go ahead and just put it out there. And like you said, you're not asking for permission. You're just pretty much like, hey, I'm just filling you in and letting you know. And if I can get past that, like, hey, I'm not asking for permission anymore. I'm just saying, hey, this is what it's going to be. I'm just want to let you know, and have that confidence and that courage. Then it's going to be easy peasy.
Yeah,
for sure.
I know you're going to do it soon. I got faith.
All right, girl. Boost me up. I need it.
Take the bags off. Yeah. Just take off the bags.
Drop the bag.
How is Larissa's family?
So her family is completely different. So she had easy coming out, and she still talks to her, but her parents and stuff. So I mean, they accept me. I mean, we come around. We can do all that, but her, I think hers, I mean, I can't speak for her, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to speak for her on her side without her being here. But yeah, she had an easy coming out. They were kind of, that was that parent like, oh, we already knew that. We already knew that's how you were.
Right.
And I think it wasn't until college that she had a situation to where she was kind of forced to tell her parents, because she was in athletics and things like that and playing sports. So it was one of those unfair situations where she had to call her parents and tell them this because something had happened at school. But they were like, oh, girl, we ain't worried about that. Like,
we already knew that.
Yeah, we already knew that. So I was like, what? Like, and she never had any issues.
Yo, that's probably what your parents are going to say.
You know what? That's a really good way to think
I mean,
about it.
Really, though, if you think about it.
They're probably going to be like, oh, what? We thought y'all already were.
Name any couple that have been together for even over, once you hit 30, if you've been with somebody for over a year, then they're like, so when's the...
I know, right?
So I don't think it's like any shock. Like, I don't think it'd be like, oh my God, what do you even mean? It's like, duh.
They're probably like, oh, we thought y'all already
right.
were.
Like, duh.
Wait, what? Like, you... Girl, I promise if my parents say that, I'm going to fall out on the floor.
They're going to say that.
I'm going to fall out on the floor and pass out. I promise you.
They're going to give you a form of duh.
I'm like, why didn't y'all tell me that? Because I could have
Because they don't need to give you permission. Why would they tell you?
Valid. Right on. 100%. Mm-hmm. You're right.
What are they going to come to you and say? We just want you to know you can get married now. I'm an adult.
Yeah,
thanks.
Right. I guess it's how I think. You're like, wait a minute, why they call you up and tell you you're going to get married? Like, we're not going to do that. That's true.
Yeah. You're going to do it, and it's going to be good, and they're going to give you a duh.
Yeah, they're going to, yeah.
So what's going on next for you?
So what I have going on, I got some speaking events coming up. I'm really focused on my business this year. I've been talking about doing this whole model coaching thing and online training thing for a very, very long time, like a really long time. So now I am doing it.
I love it.
Do it in 2019. So I'm pouring all of my love and energy into that right now and just making it happen step by step by step, because I can't keep just pushing it to the side. It's time for us to represent. And I know I need to be the one to do it. And I love doing it. So
I'm so glad we met. Thank you so much. This was like really fun and amazing. And I'm glad you live across the street.
Whoop, whoop. Yes.
I like to do runs around the lakes, but around the lake, but then it always gets like late and dark. And I watch a lot of Investigation ID.
See, that's bad.
And so I'm that person. I'm like, it's getting dark. Run back to the house. Run back. Where's the mace?
Run faster. Hurry up.
Like I though legit run with like mace in my left hand.
No.
Yes, I didn't have my little, what do you call the thing that you put around your arm for the phone?
Yeah.
So like I lost mine and I just haven't gotten a new one.
So
and so I got everything. The mace. I got the mace in the left hand. I got the phone in the right hand. I'm like, come at me, people. Come at me, bro.
I'm ready. I don't think you're going to have to worry about that around here. Not in this neighborhood, but it's good that you are prepared.
I'm prepped.
Yeah, you are prepared for sure.
So where can folks reach out to you? Maybe to get some modeling tips or just to generally connect?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at Deanna Fierce. And that is my email as well, deannafierce@gmail.com, or themodelingstandard.com is my website. So usually Instagram first or email. That'd be the quickest way to find me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you. You're so pleasant.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
And thank you, my lovely listeners, for tuning in tonight. Please reach out and let me know what you think of the show at Tennesha Wood on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And until next time, wish me love. Hello again, my lovely listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of DRL. If you like the show, be sure to go on iTunes and leave a rating and also write a review. And don't forget to share with your friends and tell them all about DRL. Thank you so much for supporting.